How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.
Punjab Kings are roaring in IPL 2025. They've gunned down a target of 172, something we thought might keep Lucknow in the game, might keep them competitive, given the surface at the Ekana, which we saw for the first time this tournament. But enter Prabhsimran Singh, Shreyas, even Nail Vadera, and they've made light work of the opposition. It's a lot of reasons to get excited if you're a Kings fan with this new approach this season. This is Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout, still in the company of Matt Rawler, Varun, Nick Knight, and who was it who said they might just make light work of this target? But this is about the Punjab Kings. Let's talk about them. That's a statement win after 5-6 days off, Varun. You said sometimes it's not a good thing when you have a big break after such a red-hot performance, but these two wins must make them believe that they're destined for big things, just in terms of quality of and statement of the performance.
Yeah. For sure, the whole campaign started off with Ricky Ponting saying that this is my team and I'm going to approach it a certain way, and he was very clear that he didn't want any outside interference. And this is what happens when somebody like Ricky Ponting and Shreyas Iyer join forces, who work together and are both IPL winning captain and coach.
Yep.
I feel there's a really good system working for this team at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, it's curious, aren't we? How are they going to approach this chase? They're going to look to just keep wickets in hand. I don't think that's how Prabhsimran thinks.
Well, you nailed it. Your statement. I mean, it's a massive statement, isn't it? And then you look at how they've done it, and then you look at their team lineup and think, actually, they've won 2 games quite well. This one certainly comprehensively. Overseas players haven't played a major part in that.
Yes.
So you look at it, kind of contributions from Indian players. Captain is like a rock. He looks so calm. He looks so authoritative. The team is playing exactly how his mentality is playing out, along with the coach Ricky Ponting. There's a lot of talk about that, but early stages of a tournament, when you've got a captain and a coach trying to mould a team, as all these guys are, when they know each other so well, you can see that there's a real confidence around the camp.
It's going to be hard for us to peep into Ricky Ponting's notes. What we can do is peep into Matt Rawler's. What does it say, Matthew?
Well, the last thing I wrote down there, I just had a quick glance at the table. There's 3 teams that have played 2-1-2, Punjab Kings, DC and RCB, which are the 3 teams that have been in the IPL throughout and never won it, which is why we love the mega auction. And that's why the league loves the mega auction as an idea, because it ensures that competitive balance that you wouldn't get if you didn't have sort of ripping up squads every now and then. I think it's an exciting start to the season, not least for those teams because of the fact that none of them have played at their main home base either. I think RCB are playing at the Chinnaswamy for the first time tomorrow. Punjab have had 2 games on the road, and Delhi have been in Vizag. All 3 teams there, if their fans from the outset are long suffering, but they're probably all sat there thinking, this is a pretty good start to 2025. This could be our year.
And there have been a few mega auctions before, but I think this just might be the one where Punjab have actually got it really on point.
I'm an Arsenal fan, as are you. And I was told by Man United fans back in the days when it used to be much more stiff rivalry. It isn't anymore, and everyone knows why. It's not because of Arsenal. But it was that the Premier League isn't won in August, it's won in May. So IPL isn't won now. But why is there reason to believe that even though this is the early part of the season, that the Punjab Kings can go all the way? Nick's made one very important point, I think, that the Indian players are firing. Overseas are just playing supporting acts. And what does that tell you?
That's quite important, though, isn't it? Because you know that Maxwell, Stoinis, Janssen, Ferguson, Omazai, whoever it's going to be, they're going to play a major part. They're going to win a game or 2. They're going to have a major contribution along the line. So you kind of bank that, put that in the back pocket and say, well, that's going to happen at some point. So if we're winning games without them, we're in a pretty good place. And I think that's as much as I see from that performance, is that is a really really confident start for them, based on some of their major players still yet to make a major contribution.
I'm also adding to that perhaps the amount of new franchise captains we have. So we got Pant, Shreyas, and who's the third? Do we have Rahane? And amongst all that we might name,
Patidar as well.
Patidar at the same franchise, yes, but first time captain. But Shreyas the captain, Shreyas the batter. Today he's gone at 170 again without barely breaking a sweat.
Shreyas the batter, Shreyas the captain. But the other thing with Punjab is, if you just remember over the years, they've had an uncanny knack of losing games, losing tight games, losing games
from winning situations.
Yeah, from winning situations.
Yeah.
But the first thing they did with the first game was get that big monkey off their back, which was like not lose that game. Because the moment fans see Punjab losing another game like that, they're like, oh my God, this is again, it's going to be the same thing again.
Yeah.
But you know what? They really stuck to their plans last game. They showed a lot of calm under pressure, which Punjab has not shown before, which is like a very CSK thing or very Mumbai thing, where they're like pulling off games right at the death. So that was a great start. I think a start is really important, and this game is a statement kind of a game.
What do you like about Prabhsimran Singh? There's a lot to like about him.
Fearless, wasn't he? And when you look at players who are fearless like that, I also look what's behind that. So I look at Ricky Ponting, I look at the dugout. It's all right when you get a player, and I've been in that position myself a little bit, you're sort of told to do something. It's like you're supposed to go out there and do it, but you don't want to muck up because you're not quite sure you've got the full backing. Because if it doesn't quite work, there'll be questions asked. Whereas I feel with Prabhsimran and Priyansh, the way they're playing, it's just fully committed. We're all behind you. Go for it. Doesn't matter. If you fail this time, we know you'll get runs in the next game. You're the right man for the job. You go and play in the way you can. And I just feel there's that air of sort of support around the approach, really, which is what you need when you're Prabhsimran and Priyansh. You need those guys behind you.
It's quite brave as well for them to have gone into this season with two uncapped Indian openers. That's not something that almost any team does. I can't think of another team in the league off the top of my head that's doing that. But to have two guys who they're backing fully to go out all guns blazing with that intent, it didn't come off for Priyansh Arya today, but it did in the first game, and then today Prabhsimran. I thought it was impressive as well that he actually kicked on outside of the power play as well. Looking at his numbers across his IPL career, I think he'd had before tonight 350s in 136 games. He had a good strike rate, but he hadn't sort of gone on and won games, whereas he really broke the back of that chase today, kept it going against the spin when that came on, and played some outrageous shots as well. There was that tennis shot over the offside, there was a huge six over the covers. Got pretty innovative as well, was having a little reverse lap at one point off Bishnoi. There's a lot to like.
Yeah. Prabh's been retained twice now, I think, in 2 cycles, or at least by the franchise. And I guess it's showing a lot of faith in what's a huge group of talented, uncapped Indian batters. But where's Prabhsimran ranking? And the way he's batting, how high can his ceiling go?
Look, Prabhsimran has always been one of those rocks or diamonds kind of a batsman. He can win you games single-handedly, and he can just have periods of complete lull. So, because his approach is such, he's not a very percentage kind of cricketer. He takes the situation on, irrespective of what's going on, irrespective of the surface. He has just one gear, which is fifth. I think he just really has to find a balance somewhere, look at Nicky P tonight, great example, somebody who can go at 200s, but respects the conditions when it has to be respected. I would love to see Prabhsimran Singh go on to do really good things, maybe play for the Indian team, get a lot of runs this IPL, but he has to find that balance somewhere in the games after this to get that consistency. Like Matt said, really, really good strike rate, a brilliant 100, a few 50s, but then again doesn't follow it up.
170 was supposed to be a competitive score, and I guess this is also where you try and look at captaincy and whether that start from Prabh just either flattened Lucknow, or could we have seen more from them to make a fight out of this? With every game, Rishabh Pant, not only his batting but his captaincy will come under the scanner. In comparison, when you compare Shreyas and Pant, something which we like to do a lot sitting on these couches and in the media and in general, that Shreyas, the captain, also seems to be on point tactically, whereas same can't necessarily be said about Pant. Is that fair?
I would say that, especially because looking at the first over, third man was up. Shardul Thakur is going to swing the ball out. Especially in these kind of games, you want a couple of slips in. You want to get a wicket up front to get the momentum going for your team when your score's low and the wicket is doing something. I just feel that sometimes as a bowler and as a captain, the kind of fields you set from ball one sends out a message that either you're playing a defensive role or you're going for the wicket. And I think they started off with a few mistakes like that there.
But surely the bowlers work with the captain there.
I mean, it's a team. The bowling coach, the bowler, the captain.
You open the bowling, right? First ball of the game. I doubt very much there's been a time where you're bowling to a field that you're not that happy with.
Sometimes
I bet you've had you're quite instrumental in whether the third man is up or third man is back.
100%. Especially the first ball you bowl, generally it's your own field. So it is obviously Shardul's call, but then sometimes as a captain, the captain is like, you know what, we need wickets. I'm giving you a couple of slips, putting the third man back. get the guy out, caught behind or bowled.
Shardul takes a lot of wickets, got third also, doesn't he? I mean, I'm just thinking at the top of my head.
Shardul
Shardul's
can
not
get-
the bowler who gets third in very often.
Shardul can get wickets anywhere.
Right, sure,
Okay?
that's fair.
Like there is no pattern to Shardul. He gets wickets.
Okay, Vadera played well, and I'm just trying to now go back to whether this game was set up by Punjab's bowlers. Is it fair to say, or did batting get easier in the second innings? Sometimes it's so hard to tell these things with the way batters play.
It's a
But did it get
question,
easier?
that, because I'm sort of trying to work that out myself, because I actually said to you, I thought it'd be quite a close game. I thought 170 was not a good score, but an okay score, and I think I sat on the fence saying it was sort of 50-50, but I didn't expect it to play out like that. So Prabhsimran takes a massive bow, and I thought he was terrific. Where are we with LSG's bowlers? I mean, that's the thing now, isn't it? Where are we? After the first game, we were questioning it a little bit. Then they went to Sunrisers in Hyderabad, and they were outstanding. They found a good method. They employed it well. They stuck to the plan. They looked a good side. And then they come here at home. They just looked like they didn't really have much impact on that surface,
What
which
about
I thought they might do.
choice of the impact? Okay, Matt, let's talk bowling.
Yeah, I think Nick's entirely right. I think that with a different attack, that could have been a much closer game. But I think also part of the impressive thing about how Prabhsimran was played was that they were almost chasing the game from that point. And I think the decision to bring Siddharth in when they already had a couple of spinners in the lineup, maybe you could have, I was surprised that they didn't go with Prince Yadav today, just given how well he performed in the last game. But maybe they see him as more of a defensive option, whereas they felt the need to break the game open with wickets.
I think the biggest point of discussion should be Bishnoi. He's played 3 games. I feel he's the main bowler in this team, especially with all the fast bowlers, the main fast bowlers missing. He's gone at about 12.5 runs per over in these 3 games, and he's got just 3 wickets, which you don't expect from the main bowler, the main spinner.
Yep.
So that's big because he's supposed to be taking the load of this attack, and he's not at the moment.
Yeah. Is that because Bishnoi, the cricketer, may not be there and it's understandable? Or by now, by the experience Bishnoi has had and the fact that the team retained him for the amount they did. Sometimes being retained is not the player's fault, is it? Retained or released. But do you sense he's carrying a responsibility that Bishnoi, the bowler, is not ready for? Or do you expect more from him?
I think he's ready for it. He was top of the charts in the T20 bowlers rankings at one point.
Yes.
So when you've succeeded at the international level, obviously your franchise is going to expect you to do well for them and take the load. So I don't think he should be worrying. I mean, he's not in a fledgling stage of his career where he should be worrying about how much load can I take.
Very fair. Quickly on Matt's point on who the impact sub was. You've gone Prince Yadav after the last game, or was Siddharth understandable? So they didn't announce it initially.
Yeah, it took them 6 overs
few
to make the
overs,
decision,
so they were obviously trying to see what happens there. But I mean, sometimes against teams like this, game can be set in the power play. So I'm curious as to why LSG didn't impact sub in early, because Siddharth, as we know, bowls with a new ball.
I just wanted to see what was going to happen. I mean, I wasn't against the finger spinner. I said again at half time, I thought the finger spinner bowling into the surface might be something that they could exploit, but it didn't quite work out for them.
Okay.
I mean, when you look at LSG, when you look at LSG, Mayank Yadav, I don't know what his situation is.
He's not going to be fit at least till the later part.
I mean, that's a massive loss.
Yeah.
Mostly obviously out as well.
Yeah.
I just think they've got to play on flat wickets.
Mostly in Akashdeep. Akashdeep's not there.
Yeah. They've got. I mean, their super strength is that top 5.
I mean, it was always a risk to retain Mayank Yadav, but I can understand why they were tempted. In his absence, all the more reason that they've got to have.
I mean, can they produce a flat? That pitch to me. I mean, we're a long way away, but if you leave a little bit more grass on that, can that just create a little bit more pace? Do you reckon?
I mean, with a very minimal amount of grass, there was quite a lot of lateral movement today, and I think they've, if anything, would have to remove some grass on it so that at least
it won't just skid on.
Yeah,
that's the problem.
Because all the international batsmen, including Miller, like the ball to come onto the bat and come onto the bat straight, not deviating off the wicket. So
just looked like Punjab had good bowlers, or better bowling plans. Jansen and Chahal went
even
for a few, but
Avesh,
got a
I
big
think
wicket.
Avesh is really off the boil. Just with the way his seam's coming out, it's actually, he had a pretty decent upright seam. It's literally, he's undercutting the ball now, so he's not getting any lateral movement off the wicket.
Questions and comments coming through. Let's take them if you're watching on our YouTube live. Keep them coming. DOF says, this is the best Punjab team I've ever seen. I love it. I love it. That's what you want to feel like if you're a Punjab fan. Like, this team is awesome. To be fair, I remember a lot of auction tables where Punjab looked really good. There are a lot of good teams, but somehow it just seems to be working out. And good on them. They made an impactful change today. Lockie came in, had an impact. Lockie Ferguson's not found a lot of love in bowling in the IPL. DOF had Shreyas has to be in the T20 team. And the captain too. Okay, so now you're really loving Shreyas Iyer. So he's got to be in the Indian T20 team. Bats like this, he may not have played in the last few bilateral T20Is, but it's going to be hard to keep him out. Shreyas Iyer, India T20 team, strong case.
Yeah,
Nick?
I mean, let's not. It's 2 games in, right? And so I'm always wary of getting too carried away because in 3 or 4 games' time it could be very different. But the signs are really good. Let's go that far. The signs are really good for him and for his team. And I go back, and I know everyone's done it, but Ricky Ponting is playing a major part here. I mean, that relationship is absolutely crucial. You know, we've all been in positions of responsibility, and sometimes you're the one that's hung out there. But actually, if you've got that support base from behind you, that is so crucial, and that's the way I see that.
I'm owing this to Shreyas. I want to mention Shreyas every time someone mentions his coach.
Raunak, at this point, I can read your mind. I knew you were going to say that.
Yeah, because it's Gautam Gambhir there, whether it's Ricky Ponting there. Man in the middle is Shreyas Iyer with that cap slightly up and playing like $1 million right now.
100%.
I mean, you got to give it to him. And the fact that he's in a great patch with the Champions Trophy, with the England series before that, my God, it's just Shreyas is hitting dream run.
He's had some real fire in his belly ever since he lost his central contract.
Yeah.
He lost his T20 spot. He's come back, and every time he's come onto the field, I feel there's a sense of purpose and there's a sense of proving something. Even after the win, the IPL win last year, he was bold enough to come out and say, you know what, it's not just the support staff who won this trophy. I was the captain, and I should get my due. So, which means
he's become very bold. Remember in that one game in England, the first game, he said, I wasn't going to play today. But for Virat getting injured or whatever, having a sore knee. So he's become, I like what I'm seeing of him. And you know what, maybe losing that central contract could have been one of the best things that happened on the flip side. He's played a lot of domestic cricket. He's played very well. He's clearly overcome the short ball. So I don't know if it was by design.
Side Mushtaq Ali with
Mumbai, yes.
He's also scored, I think, really well in partnerships and sort of recognised that you don't have to bat up one tempo just because you're playing really aggressively in these first 2 games. You think that first game where he played second fiddle to Shashank Singh at the end and happily gave away the strike. And today they had that big partnership, I think worth 84 or 44 with Prabhsimran, where he, was happy to say, you're off to a flyer, I'll give you your chance to go hard. And then, he went big at the end to seal the win.
Didn't want the 100 either. So don't worry about the 100. Just go and smash it, Shashank. Everything to love about Shreyas Iyer. I'm sounding like that first fan who sent everything in. Let's take some more, shall we? Devang says, really happy to see teams plan better against these strong batting lineups and restrict them. I feel teams have to start almost defensive bowling in the power play. Was that what we can classify Punjab's early plans with the ball as? That they bowl smartly and defensively at times to keep the likes of Nicholas Pooran and... I don't know.
No, I don't think they bowled defensively at all. They actually bowled really well, exploited whatever conditions were at hand. They didn't bowl defensively. I think a lot of teams, on the contrary, have gone to slow balls, Yorkers right at the start, which we were talking about, but they actually stuck to good old length balls. Okay,
Ramesh, very good, Ramesh. No one needs to explain much about losing from winning positions to Raunak. He's an Arsenal fan. He knows. Very good. Very good. I took that, right? Yeah. I took that question. Arnab Banerjee, this is tough. Explain that strategic timeout. Just happens, man.
Bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just one of those things that happen. Can't do anything about it. All right, what else do we have? The Punjab squad is indeed one of the best assembled squads in auctions ever. Often when you have large purses, you end up squandering the opportunity. That's a good point. Many times they do enter the auction with lots of money. 822 saying this, they've actually assembled really good squad. So I guess that's fair. Everyone seems to agree.
100%.
I think it's an interesting one where you sort of almost seen the 2 extremes. If you think about KKR last night and then Punjab tonight, KKR had that core of players that they were desperate to retain and probably, if anything, overpaid for the players that did so well for them. And then Punjab, because they were starting from a position of weakness, only went in with 2 players, I think. They retained 2 uncapped players and had that huge purse and could build from scratch and have almost had the strength of it so far.
Yeah, I mean, effectively, RTM'd Arshdeep for 18, which is what they could have retained him for. But they took a calculated gamble.
Yeah.
Could have been less, ended up being 18. So
I've got a slightly different view on that.
Go on, Nick. That's better.
We've all done it, and we all do it, and everyone watching will have done it. You see your sides, and you all look at it and go, oh, that's a good side. Oh, I think there's a weakness there, that's not so... I think they might win it, they might go to the playoffs. We've all done it. But actually, what we see with Punjab, and I see it slightly differently, as I say, is that here's a side that are finding a way of performing. I don't look at Punjab and go, oh my God, they're going to get to the playoffs with the players on the pitch. I don't. But what I look at them is I say they're well led. There's great direction within the team. They all seem pretty organised. They all seem pretty disciplined with what they're doing. They all seem to know where they're heading in the team. It all looks right. Now, I don't think that's necessarily all to do with the fact that they've got a good auction. I think it's more to do with the environment they've created. I think it's more to do with the leadership qualities that we're seeing and the encouragement for the players to go and do that. And look at SRH. SRH have got the best side on paper for me.
Okay.
Right? Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to go on and win the tournament. It's how they gel together, it's how they play, it's how they're led, it's how all the things that play out over 14 group games.
Yep.
I don't think it's all necessarily about the auction.
It's true, and also, to be fair, one of the reasons they do look, in my opinion, quite strong on paper is you look at the overseas and the all-round call, but as Nick says, those aren't the guys that have performed yet. It's actually the uncapped guys, and that speaks to his point about culture and environment.
Yeah, I mean, if we had to look at the SRH example, that what happens when they 4 down quickly if they play aggressively, which is a very real possibility with any hard-coming side, the side that comes out hard out of the blocks. They still have Stoinis and Maxwell in the middle, whereas SRH were hoping for Aniket, Abhinav Manohar, bringing in the impact sub.
Aniket is really good.
He's a very good player, very good player.
I think that's been a real plus for SRH.
100%. My point goes to they have the idea, the thought behind how they're setting up has multiple methods that could lead to success, that's all. But early days, 2 games. Now, Rishabh Pant, lots and lots of questions and comments on Pant, and that'll happen. Before I take them, if you would allow me to actually tell you what Pant has said himself just at the end of the game right now. Score was not enough, we were 20 to 25 runs short. That's his first line. It's part and parcel of the game. Our first home game, so still assessing the conditions. Speaking on the early wickets that they lost, he said definitely it's always tough to get a big total when you lose early wickets. You can't control each and everything, but each player is trying to take the game forward. The idea was to get a slow wicket. This is interesting. The idea was to get a slow wicket because we felt it's a home game and it's going to stop a bit. When you were bowling slow, it was sticking and we were just not good enough on the day. That should surprise you, given what you think is best suited to Lucknow's strengths.
It's almost the total opposite to what I was saying at the start, and still believe. I look at that side, LSG, and I look at their resources, and I think you need a flat pitch that's coming on. To your super strength is that top 5. You're kind of scrabbling around a little bit to find bowling combinations that are going to work. Now, if you play on a slow pitch, for me, that's just going to stop any real dominance from that top 5. How do you guys see it?
I think you should go the SRH way. Flat wicket, absolutely smelt teams right up top and try to win games like that.
Especially with the form Puran's in, with what Marsh can do on those wickets. I'll take some Pant questions though. There were quite a few early on. I'll try and do a summary of them. There are 2 or 3 things here. One, Pant in white ball, it's just not getting convincing or less and less convincing with each game. Is Pant just an exceptional test batter?
It's crazy the kind of speculation that comes up when players like these fail in just 3 games. Because, Pant's
IPL and below par performances have gone on for a while, though, isn't it fair to say?
It wasn't a bad last year. He got 400 plus runs. So it's not like he's completely tanking. And he obviously has done really, really well for Delhi whenever he's been playing for them.
Fair enough.
It's just 3 games. He can bounce back from this.
Yeah. This one from High Skeptic. Pant's continued quest for captaincy is derailing his batting. His captaincy has historically been, the word High Skeptic uses is terrible. But there are juries out whether Pant, the captain's convincing. But do you sense at a time when he's searching for runs too, captaincy is also adding to the weight? Any opinions on that?
Maybe. Only he knows that. Maybe. I mean, captaincy does funny things to players. Captaincy comes to some at the right time, and that's not always intentional. It just sort of falls in your lap, and you're ready for it, and you're experienced, and you know your own game inside out. The thing is with captaincy, my take on captaincy, if you're really content with your own game and where you're at with your own game, captaincy is a good thing. If you're still searching for how you're going to improve and where you are, I know everyone wants to improve, but if you're still searching and sort of looking inside to how your own game is going, captaincy can be tough. because your gut feeling is me. I need to get my own game in order, but actually I haven't got time to do that because I've got to focus on everybody else and everything that's going on. So that can then be a bit of a burden.
Okay, let's take some more. Sorry, Matt, you got some.
Well, I was just going to say, just to add to that I think part of the challenge, we discussed the weakness of this LSG attack, and that's one of the challenges for a captain, is if you're dealing with, you could be the best captain in the world, but if you don't have great bowlers to fall back on, that's a challenge. I think anyway. So I'm sure that's not helping.
Fair.
If he had an attack with 4 India internationals and a top overseas, then it would be a slightly different situation, I think.
Well, let's go into those lines then. How about helping Pant out by changing the combination? Pant open the innings, was subject we have discussed before, which Swanathan says just make him open, like you've done with Mitch Marsh. It could bring some good fortune. There's another one which says if Markram goes out, you can actually bring in Shamar Joseph, who is your only overseas quick, and fair to say can't do any worse. I mean, if you add a little more international talent, he's not got the IPL body of work, but is that a direction they need to go sooner rather than later now? Pant to open and or Shamar for Markram? Anyone?
I would say the way Markram was batting today, he was and with the way the game is played today, he was actually taking too much time at the start. I think his first 4 or 5 balls were he really couldn't get off the mark, and then that one Lockie Ferguson over, he started to get on with the game, but then again, I mean, I just feel he's out of touch a little bit. So they might have to take a call because their fast bowling is not great at the moment. I'm not saying Markram should sit out because of these 3 games, but they definitely need to infuse somebody like Shamar Joseph into the squad.
It's also quite something that Shamar is your only overseas option on the bench.
Yeah.
I mean, today Punjab called in Lockie Ferguson. Yes, Lockie Ferguson's had ups and downs. Lockie Ferguson's won. He's won an IPL, firstly with Gujarat.
Yeah.
He's had a long sort of experience in international and IPL
really well
cricket.
that year. He bowled really well that year when Gujarat won.
GT, yes, he did. And just saying, they don't have anyone else but Shamar.
Yeah, you're right. And Joseph is very inexperienced as a T20 bowler as well. He's probably not a magic solution. I think he's 20 games in his career, 1 IPL appearance. So much as he's a hugely exciting player, can bowl proper wheels. He's not necessarily a plug and play experience solution in the way that, as you say, someone like Ferguson might be.
Okay, there are some calls for a change of captaincy at Lucknow. You know what? I'll just allow me a little time. Yeah. We'll get it, right? It's going to happen after every game where they win and lose. Thank you for sending the questions and comments, and good on you. But we just wait. It's not going to change the captain yet, but I promise I'll take it to whoever my panel is in the first week of May at least, if not before that. That pretty much wraps it up. I thought there was one question I wanted to very quickly take. Bishnoi, yes. On Bishnoi, Gaming Infinity saying he bowls too quick. Is that a reason why people can take him down? There's another one on Bishnoi should go back and watch his matches from the early seasons as to what got him success. That's from PS Kautam. Is he bowling differently, faster than before? How would you like Bishnoi to sort of find his mojo again?
I think he's bowling the same pace which he's always bowled, which is quick. He's never been somebody who's bowled slow, but I think he's erring on the shorter side a bit too much in these first 3 games. He was always somebody that if you miss, he hits, because he's always bowling the sliders, always bowling those googlies, but I think he's just falling a bit short, and then he's trying to also do stuff which he generally doesn't do, which is try to bowl wide outside the off stump, and his action does not suit wide outside the off stump bowling.
Okay, I believe that question of a change of captaincy came from a handle named Goenka. So I'm not kidding. Just another observation.
Like he's just made that handle for that question.
I mean, anyway, I'll leave it there. There was just one more saying Arsenal can only win on April 1. That's the last Arsenal jibe I'll take. And just for your knowledge, when we watch the game tonight, it'll be April 2. All right. Thank you very much, everybody, for sending that in. There's another clever one which said KKR retained the wrong Iyer. Should have been Shreyas, ended up was being Venki. They bought him back, both for big money. But that's all of you guys.
Bought the wrong Shashank the last time. And that turned out really well.
Oh, Varun, they bought the right one. They gave an explanation later. Gosh, anyway, on that note, thank you so much for being part of the conversation. We really enjoyed that. And it's a great day to be a Punjab Kings fan. Didn't mix the 2 franchises up. But it's now time for rapid fire review. Gentlemen, you know how this works. Quick fire responses to just recap the game. And let's go. Nick Knight, you first up. Punjab and Lucknow appeared to be batting on 2 completely different surfaces. Why did Punjab find it so much easier to score than Lucknow?
Good question. Ultra positive, and they were chasing what they felt was a below par score.
All right, Varun Aaron, another low score for Rishabh Pant. How big a concern is the form of the LSG captain?
It's a very big concern because they're definitely depending on him to up the tempo, get big scores. But Rishabh Pant not scoring is bad news for any team. I'm sure when he's looking into this and he knows what a big part of this puzzle he is.
Okay, Matt, you'll enjoy this one. What's the biggest concern for LSG's bowling attack? The new ball, the death, or the spin?
Can I say all three? Well, they didn't reach the death tonight, so it can't be that. Probably the new ball. I think they've been behind the game tonight from the start.
Okay, this one's good for you, Nick. What kind of surface do LSG need at the Ekana to try and make it a fortress? You got to do that again. The camera was still on me.
Flat.
All right. Varun, how good was Prabhsimran's knock today? What can he do to be able to play like this a bit more consistently?
That's exactly what we spoke about. I think it was really good knock, and he's played knocks like these. It's just that sometimes when the conditions are not favouring him, he should respect it for a bit and then tee off whenever he wants to.
All right. And all three of you can take this. 2 games in. Do Punjab Kings look like one of the front runners in this year's IPL? Yes or no? And a reason, Matt.
Based on the first 2 games, yes, fearless batting and a strong attack.
Varun.
I would say even before the tournament started, I was putting them in the top 4. They look like a very organised team and really good sync between the captain and the coach.
Nick.
Yes, they weren't in my top 4 at the start. What I like most about them is I think there's more to come. I think their overseas will make more contributions as we go. I think they'll get better.
All right, that is a rapid fire review. Nicely done by the 3 of you. I think there's going to be more to come of Nick Knight, who will get back on the caravan tomorrow for the World Feed.
Calcutta.
Back home for a bit, and then we will see you again on this very comfortable couch. Nick, always a pleasure. Thank you very much. Varun Aaron, good to see you. But I think you're going to get a bit of a break from us as well now for a while.
For a few days.
You've got a lot of travelling to do.
Yeah.
So I wish you well. You're not going anywhere, but I'll give you a day off tomorrow. Matthew Roller worked too hard. Just letting you know that next game for Punjab, they finally go to their designated home at Mullapur, and they will play the Rajasthan Royals and Chennai Super Kings in back-to-back home games on Saturday and Tuesday. As far as Lucknow go, they've got 2 days to try and figure out what sort of surface they want to dish out for the Mumbai Indians on Friday at the Ekana. Gentlemen, always a pleasure. Thank you so much. Thank you for being part of it as well with your questions and comments. Look forward to RCB in action tomorrow at the Chinnaswamy for the first time. Build up to that just before the toss on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket for Timeout. Good night.
How do I do it all? The Brezza gives me the power.